Welcome back to another edition of the AB Branch, your Sunday rendezvous, episode number 10. And we are
Number
ready to
10.
rock and roll this week because it's the perfect week for the Montreal Canadiens. And we have the co-host, Mr. Marko Larabie directly from Ottawa, is in the house this morning.
Yes, sir. Wow, Habs fans, are you entertained? My God, what a week! Just I don't even have words. I guess we'll have to come up with some words because that's what the show is about. But my God, just an amazing week. Very excited to kind of cover this with you. We're sad, unfortunately, Karine not feeling well. So Karine, if you're watching, we're thinking about you. Hope you feel better soon. So, Coach, just mano a mano, me and you today should be fun, though.
Yeah,
Very excited. Yeah.
it was said about Karen, we wish the best. At the same time, we want to wish the same thing to in our tap.
Yeah.
We have a kind of flu and everything like that. Was really sick Friday. He did the show, so
Yeah.
we want the best for him. He left last night
Absolutely.
during the game. I think he was not very well. So we had the speed recovery for him before he'll be ready for Monday at the warm-up show. But look, last night during the game, at some point, the feeling I got during my live streaming play-by-play, Marco, it was the same feeling when the Montreal was in the playoff 2 years ago in June, and they beat the Winnipeg Jet, and then they
Vegas.
got the
Yeah.
Winnipeg. After that, they got Vegas, and then so that's like the excitement and the pushing behind. Everybody was excited. I saw the same feeling last night, Marco,
Yeah.
during the game.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same feeling as playoffs. To me, it's kind of like the same feeling I had at the draft. Just the excitement of the draft.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, yeah.
The excitement. I think the word is really excitement. And but I want to talk more about what happening. Honestly, today is another weekly report of the AB branch. First of all, we're going to talk about reviewing the week number 5 for the Montreal Canadiens. We have a duel, but now we're going to have a backup duel. I'm going to jumping against you, so I'm going to see if he's going to get the winner. Preview week number 6, another big week for the Montreal Canadiens. 3 games this week. It's going to be the game 16, 17, 18. We're going to talk about what's coming for them. Maybe a couple of decisions they have to figure out at some point. And finally, before we jump in at the warm-up introduction, I want to mention that this is the veteran weekend, Marco, and then we want to thank all the people for the service, the military, Navy, and Army. Whatever the country you do your service, we want to say thanks so much for the freedom, and I think the Hockey Nation like show and the AB branch want to sharing this with everybody. Maybe not you, but not you like you, but the people in the chat or they're watching this video. Yeah, maybe a member of your family or a friend. So we just want to sharing this, Marco. Maybe you can add something if you want to.
Yeah, 100%. It's it's a special week. We thank everybody for their service. It's a big sacrifice. I think not only the people serving, but the families of the people that are serving. We can never forget that they're serving as well. Even while their loved one is away. So definitely thinking about them. That makes me think, Coach, just not Habs related, but lots of really amazing ceremonies around the NHL. With that, so there's the Hockey Fight Cancer Month. There's the Remembrance Day, and then just a quick note on how emotional that Boreas Salming presentation was with Toronto. We know the Habs are the ones that usually are known for doing pre-game ceremonies, but kudos to the Toronto Maple Leafs for that ceremony. That was very touching. Daryl Sittler, what a great human being that guy is.
Absolutely right. Mixed emotion during the show, during the one you watch this, because you know it's like what a career he have. One of the an icon. If you think about all the players left the Europe to play in the NHL, not many did it at the time he did it, and to play with the Toronto Maple Leafs, he was really special. And the people beside him, Daryl Suttler, and the Friday night and yesterday was another presentation for him. So. It's not easy to watching. We want everybody to be helped, everything like this. But to see a guy like that show up like this was pretty amazing. What an inspiration for many people, Marco. And it was very touching and really well done by the Toronto Maple Leafs. And we want to give them, like you said, a great job for the weekend. Of course, the Hall of Famer. Maybe we can talk about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
if we have time at the end of the show. But let's dive in, Mr. Marco, about the warm up introduction. Here we go. Usually we welcome Karine, but this week she's not here. Like you said, we wish the best for her. So we're going to run the rock and roll this show, me and you. And like we do at the beginning of the warm up introduction, we do about the review of the week report, Montreal Canadiens. And this, I don't know, it will happen a lot, but this is a perfect week for the Montreal Canadiens. A 3-game, 3-0. Not many people predicted that result. Record will be interesting if during the premier chat we're going to talk about this. Maybe some did it or not, but really
Yeah. Yeah.
impressive what they accomplished this week. Again, Detroit would win 3-2. Then you got the Vancouver Canucks 5-2, and then the Pittsburgh Penguins by yesterday, maybe the most excited game since the
Yeah.
beginning of the season for the Montreal Canadiens. 3 comeback, 3 times, and before they got a goal at the and overtime by Mike Hoffman. We're going to talk about Sven Plus, where they have a great weeks. But overall, just give us a little bit an idea what you think about the Montreal Canadiens weekly.
Yeah. Well, first of all, coach, kudos to you. I don't think you predicted a perfect week, but you did say, looking at these three teams, they match up pretty well against these three teams, right? Not the heavy teams that have potentially could give Montreal trouble. So good call. I certainly didn't predict a perfect week. I think I said 1-1-1 or something like
Yeah,
that. So just unbelievable. Going back to the Detroit game, Jake Allen, is pretty much for me the standout in that game, and Gallagher and Hoffman. So the Hoffman breakout that we're all waiting for, hoping for, I guess. That's the big story of that game. Great game by Gallagher. We hope that Gallagher kind of learns from that. Kind of putting pucks on net. It doesn't always have to kind of just be grinding in front of the net. Like really nice shots into the pads of the goalie to create those opportunities for Hoffman. My joke after that game is, okay, well, Hoffman scored a couple goals, but he's still yet to beat a goalie. But then the next game, he did straight up beat a goalie. The Vancouver game, to me, what was interesting about that is, remember all year so far, coach, we've been warning fans like it's great the results that we're seeing, but it's maybe a little bit of a mirage just because our goaltending has been so good. Well, watching the Vancouver game, you can see the exact result of what happens when you don't get solid goaltending. Demko, as we know, this season has just really struggled. I've been feeling that pain personally because I do have him in my hockey pool. He's still available for trade, by the way, anybody who wants Demko. But to me, that was kind of the very entertaining game. Again, solid performance by the first line in that game. And but again, like to me, that's kind of what stood out, right? Is this could be the alternate reality for the Montreal Canadiens if we're getting even just average goaltending, right? But again, amazing game in Vancouver. And then last night, coach, I think honestly, probably the most complete game that I've seen. The score doesn't look like, just looking at the score, you'd say, okay, well, it sounds like a run and gun kind of sloppy game. It was entertaining and all that. And it was all those things. It was very entertaining. But we held Pittsburgh to 3 shots in the first period. One thing I didn't know, and I guess I learned watching the game yesterday, we're number 2 in the league defensively in the first period in terms of goals allowed, shots against, and so forth. Right. So again, a lot of that is goaltending. But overall, if you look at that game, there's, they have those 2 goals in like minute 50 or something like that. They're very lucky goals. Poor Jake Evans, has that tip in off his stick. And then, they're just kind of discombobulated for a little while. And then all of a sudden you're down 2-1. And, as Martin Saint-Louis likes to say, we weren't winning, but we were winning. And that was very true. At no time watching that game did I not believe that they were going to be able to come back. And to me, that's probably you can see how confidence can fuel a hockey team, right? And you can, as a fan, just watching it, you can feel it. So I can just imagine in the dressing room what that must feel like, right? The belief that the team has in itself. And so just an amazing week. Um, it'd be very interesting to see kind of where it goes from here. I think we'll talk about it a bit later, but like, is this sustainable? Like it's really starting to really go against most of the predictions and thoughts that we had at the beginning of the coach year during the summer here, coach. Like something special is brewing, and it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, Montreal 861, 17.47 goal versus 848. The Trenchard Montreal was one of the worst last season, almost like 100. The only way they did not get a triple digit because they score 10-2. Remember the last game against the Florida Panthers?
Yeah,
And now
yeah,
they are only -1. So just give you an idea how they improve those stats, honestly. And then they are fifth in the Atlantic Division. And they are 15, Marco. Marco. But from 17 to 10, everybody is 17. Like they're all 17. So they can jump in from be at 10. If they win the next game, they can become a 10 in the NHL in the standing. So pretty impressive since the beginning of the season. Honestly, you really resumed the 3 game all the way from Detroit, Vancouver, and Pittsburgh. And again, that was an exciting game yesterday. It was fun to do the play by play, and I feel the same way when you play again the playoff like 2 years ago, like I mentioned earlier. And
yeah,
it's fun. Another thing I would say to you, always someone step up every single game. Not only one. Like I understand what Nitsky does, everything, but it's always someone jump and around and they make an impact at that game, and that's the fun. That's a good thing about this. And then
yeah. A little bit more
last week, 10
diversity in the
goal. I
offense,
think
right?
8 goal, 10 goal last Saturday. So we had a lot of goal, a lot of good game. I think they lost last week. And then they have like 10 goal again. I think it was Vegas. I don't know, 6-4.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if
We
the
have
people
points,
was
and
happy to leave the building because the Montreal never gave up. So it's a new way, and I think so far as the Montreal Canadian fans, you should be excited about what's going on over there. And we'll be able to see what they're going to do next. We're going to go, of course, at the end of the show, talking about the preview weeks number 6 already, Mr. Marco, and go from there. So we're going to give you a little bit more conversation, discussion. We can talk a little bit before we ask you who stood out during the week. So first thing I want to mention is the first line, the Caulfield, the Zuski, and Dak. 9-point Caulfield, the last 7 game, 12 for Zuski, 11 for Dak for the last 7 game, for a total of 20 points. But not like a 3 is honestly 32 points. But what do you think about the first line for the Montreal Canadiens?
so just incredible, right? Like, honestly, coach, I think I can conservatively say that in my lifetime, maybe since the '93 team, I'm thinking Doffus, Bellows, Muller kind of era. I can't think of a more exciting and electric first line that Montreal's ever had.
21st
So
century.
yeah, 21st, no question, in the 21st century, most electric and productive so far first
Yep.
line. What I find really interesting about this week in particular, if you look at these 3 guys, right? So Caulfield, we think of as a shooter. To me, the thing that stood out the most from him this week, though, puck battles. There's that one goal from Doc where Caulfield took out Myers against Vancouver, and then Suzuki makes that great play to Doc. And then Doc, who we think of as a playmaker primarily, couple goals this week. And then Suzuki, who we think as the all-around, two-way center, but mostly a playmaker, more goals than Suzuki this year so far.
Yeah.
So not only are they good, but they're developing different elements of their game, which makes them better rounded players. Like again, Caulfield just really surprising me. Like I think right from the preseason, we both noticed how his upper body strength that he gained during the summer was going to be helpful, and we could see it even in the preseason. But he continues to impress me. Like again, he's not Josh Anderson or Armia in terms of being able to win puck battles, but just a huge difference from last year, being smarter with his stick and getting his small body in the way but in a smart way, right? Just being smart with your stick, smart with your body, causing turnovers. So multifaceted is the word that I would use, right? In a surprising way. So just really impressive and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, Caulfield become more like a hockey player, right? He's not a scorer
Yeah,
only, but a better hockey player. That he does a lot of the details of the game. He feel like you said, more stronger. I think he work a lot on his leg. He can see more well balanced. He's not easy to move out like him. Last year. I think he fouled many times, like 1 versus 1 around the board. He
yeah,
was fouling more. I don't say it not happened, but I think he's more strong. And sometimes it's not about the weight is about how you go on your position, how you feel your balance, how
yeah,
you skate on your blade, how you skate inside, outside edge, and then how you can battle with the puck. So I think, but guy is complete, right? You complete me, and that's the
yeah,
way happening with all three together. I think for me is the Kirby Doc is really one they make a really an impact for both of them, and then they play their own style and they complete together. I think Coffee is more like the guy can shoot a puck, Suzuki is surprised with the percentage of shooting puck, but again,
yeah,
but Doc is
yeah.
more about his vision in how he drives to the net. Yeah, again, like yesterday at 2-1 versus Hoffman, he was in front of the blueprint. He go there. He played the game like Martin Saint Louis. He explains something, right?
It's a great
He
quote. Yeah,
played
it's such a
his
great
game
quote.
and end the game, and then some people don't understand everything, but
Yeah,
you
I'm
understood
totally making
because
that.
you follow Martin Saint Louis like we do every game,
Yeah,
and that's really the big strength for Kirby Doc. And to have that kid 14, 15 point, 14, 15 point, 14 game, unbelievable start of the season for him with the
yeah,
Montreal Canadiens. So we have to give credit for that line, honestly. And for the last couple of days, everybody said, yeah, but we need more support. We need other players stand up, and we need more players support that first line. If not, they're not going to carry on the team all the way. But this
yeah.
week, we have someone, finally, a veteran, stand up.
Da-da-da-da.
Your best friend, Mike Hoffman, step up with 4 goals this week. And we have to give credit. I make a video last week, I think a couple of weeks, well, I think it was last week, about the number of the underlying. I like to make those kind of video. And I wish I can do the same thing with that enough. I did yesterday. Today's a hopefully he will result like for him. But again, that enough. He did have a bad
Yeah,
game.
I liked his game.
He
Yeah, I
did
liked
not
his
have
game.
a bad game. I think for me, he's getting a little bit better and better. It just
He's
takes
right
time.
around it. He's
Yep.
right around
But
it. It's
it's all
not
about
different.
Mike Hoffman, honestly. 4 goals this week. What a week. 5 goals in the beginning season. And we need that kind of support at the bottom six, where you can call it the second line, whatever they are. And he did it. So give us a bit what you think about Mike Hoffman.
Listen, like everybody knows how I feel overall about Mike Hoffman as a player. This is Mike Hoffman, right? Like, so he's being Mike Hoffman. He is producing goals, which is what we expect. Our criticism always with Mike Hoffman is, you know, is what he's giving you, does it measure to more than what he gives away for you, right? Like, so are you giving more goals away, or are you getting more goals when he's on the ice? And for the most part, it's pretty even, or you're slightly losing when he's on the ice. But that being said, if you compare his play, not just the goals here, right? But if you look at him in his effort and his ability to win puck battles compared to someone like Drouin, again, that's the problem with Drouin, right? Is like, again, he had a nice assist yesterday, but Coach, it would be very interesting if we could do an isolated camera or a stat specifically on how many one-on-one 50-50 puck battles that Dwayne loses every game. Just as an eye test, I would be surprised if it's not like 90% of his 50-50 battles that he loses. Hoffman will win those, right? Like, he's not Gallagher, but he doesn't mind getting a bit, kind of not gritty, but he'll get in there, he'll fight for the puck, and he'll win the puck. The thing with Hoffman sometimes is he makes ridiculously dumb plays, like little back passes and things that really hurt the team. And sometimes is that he doesn't understand the game as well. His hockey IQ in terms of the game isn't that good. But listen, we're getting the best out of Mike Hoffman. The best version of Mike Hoffman is what we saw this week, and that is fantastic news. Not just in terms of the results and the impact that he's having on the game, but of course his hopefully his value, think we had this discussion a while ago. It's not like back in the day where you can kind of like showcase someone and fool people in the league to think, oh, this is an amazing player. Like there's too much video. Everybody has too much history around Mike Hoffman. They know who he is. So again, it's going to be tough for Montreal to move him. But listen, like it's better to see this Mike Hoffman than the one that we've seen. The other positive effect on that is that Gallagher is getting some points now as well. He's getting to some good feelings about being a bit more productive. So and it's really critical, like you said, to get that secondary scoring right. So listen, Mike Hoffman, Monsieur Chapeau, Chapeau à Monsieur Hoffman, ce
You're
soir.
absolutely right about this. So, in that next season, whatever Hoffman say, Marco, you don't have any more the similar players like the Dadanov, the Drouin.
Yeah,
We have too
yeah,
many like this. You can isolate Hoffman alone, but you have
yeah,
other
yeah,
like I don't know, Eneman or whatever it is. I think it will be another dynamic inside the
yeah,
Montreal Madness. Right now, we have too many those kind of passenger, not passenger, but they have the same kind of
yeah,
players. They all play the same level, so I think that's the problem we see. Is like, because honestly, it's the same pattern. It's only the name change in the back of the jersey or the number, but they play the same way all the time.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
problem we get, and that we get tired about that. So you're absolutely right about this. And finally, we have to go quickly on this. We don't have to bring it up because the people talk a lot about this. And Sakoski got suspended. The game now is done, and he's going to return with the Montreal next game Tuesday. But I think overall, what do you think about the Sakoski?
Yeah, it's just learning experience hopefully for him. I feel terrible for the guy. Luff, I think the name is the
Laugh, yeah.
player. He broke it. Yeah, broke his wrist. So terrible situation. A bit of like, it's a bit of a virus. Like we have a flu going around. Hockey Nation live show with Karine and her tap sick. So a bit of a virus of suspensions going around the Canadians. So hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. They're very dangerous plays. Yeah, so it would be interesting though, like getting the opportunity to sit down and last time he sat down when he was injured, then he came back and scored the very next game. But it would be interesting to have him back in the lineup. And what do you do then, right, when he's ready to come back?
I'm laughing because last week I think we talked about okay, what will be the next move for Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon about the situation with extra forward, everything like that. And then he put that
Yeah,
enough on the ER. Then you got Josh Anderson on the suspension. Now he gets the bad time with not the we never thought he's going to be that way, and now
yeah, yeah.
honestly, but he
It's
was
like
like
extra lives in a video game
yeah,
kind of thing, right?
exactly. I
Like, yeah,
survived a little bit more longer. But what we do every week, Marco, we do the suit out who is stood out of the week for the Montreal Canadiens. And then, of course, Karine is not here. So we're going to go only you and me. So I have my own situation who is going to fall. I was most impressed. Maybe you can mention who do you believe have a really, for you, pay a little bit more best week
yeah.
for the Montreal Canadiens.
That was hard to choose, right? There's just so many,
Yeah,
such
you're
a great
absolutely right.
week. So many, yeah. So I think again recency bias. I mentioned earlier that I think Montreal played their best game of the season last night. I think Suzuki, again, maybe not in the playoffs and everything, but he might have played the best overall game I've ever seen him play in Montreal last night. So I think for that reason, and not an easy game here, right? But just such a dominant performance in so many different ways. Like I
He
feel like
almost
he
scored
went,
Marco yesterday. Do you remember like that one Petrie make another turnover and the puck
yeah,
he bubbled between his skate to ski. He tried to put the puck at the top net and he could not.
yeah,
Jerry make an amazing great save, but
yeah,
imagine this. So
yeah, yeah. Like not just his production, like again, really nice that move, the hesitation or the patience that he had in that move where he let the defenseman skate by him and then went by him and then did that little pass and then really nice play by Doc to bounce it back to him for him to pot it. But so all that is very impressive, right? But to me, it was I guess it was just very interesting and they were talking a lot about it on Hockey Night in Canada, right? Suzuki versus Crosby last night and doing a lot of comparisons. But just watching him play against Suzuki, against Crosby the whole game, we're not saying he's better than Crosby or that he's the next Crosby. But I think it was just really, I just saw him take an extra step last night. We'll see if he can continue to do that and if he can maintain that. But not just his production, but his his PK last night, like just really strong in the PK. Just a really really solid game and all like winning face-offs. Just
Yesterday I have a
overall
very
game,
bad week. Last night the
yeah,
face was bad yesterday.
yeah, yeah. Well, he won some key face-offs, so on the penalty kill and power play and everything else, right? So maybe the full numbers weren't there, but he won some really key ones. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a great point about him, and because you talk about him, and some point people was asking me about who do you compare? Like if you think one players and maybe present or in the past, what will player would you can compare him right now?
well, the obvious one is it's always been Bergeron, right? That's who people have always compared, especially as a right hand shot center. I don't think his two-way game is there yet. Like I think we've talked about this coach. Like overall, his defensive numbers are not as good as last year. So overall, I don't think he's there. Like I think he has that reputation for being an amazing two-way center. And I think he has the potential to do that, but I don't think he's shown it over a long period of time yet. So I think, maybe even more than Patrice Bergeron is more of like a David Krejci kind of player, right? So I think he has that kind of potential. David Krejci is also solid defensively. Um, so I think he's more at that level. That's why I think if we're going to win a championship one day, he's kind of like a 1A center. He's not an elite first line center unless he plays like last night. And I hope I'm wrong. But I think he's more of like a 1A. So that's why I think we're all hoping that we would be able to draft another really high end elite center in this year's draft. Based on results so far, we'll see what happens. But right now, we're maybe a little bit out of range for those particular players. So yeah, I would say Krejci would be a good comparison. What about you?
On the present, I have to go with Brendan Point. Um, for me, is a guy like Kishev score, but Caulfield can score, right? Or Stanko. So he feed the people around him. He make the people better around this, and he don't. And people say he's not fast, Zuski. If you look at him, he's faster what we think he is. He's not a
Yeah,
fastest guy, but if
yeah,
he start between the red line coming in trend zone, he's fast. Like you'll be surprised if you pay a little bit more attention. So for me, it is.
yeah,
Now I'm going to compare him with you just described exactly the right thing, with the 1A center, everything like that. Now I'm going to compare things. I think Bergeron is not what I'm thinking more. I'm thinking more in the past. And he's not like him, but the way he play is similar like him for the team. I'm talking about Joe Sakic for me. And again, it's not a number of Joe Sakic and Hall of Famer with 100 points per game per season. But what I'm talking about is maturity, his calm, his vision, his intelligence on the ice, his haiku, his hockey sense, his hands. And then, he can shoot the puck to keep better what we think he is. It does completely a bit what Joe Sakic did. Again, Joe Sakic was maybe more talented overall. But for me, that's the kind of player he is. Like Joe Sakic was not the biggest player, like a 6'4", like Keslav or Thornton. He was a small package together, a little bit taller at Brendan Point. But that's what I feel, or I hope he can become that kind of player in the future if he can go to become a super elite. And right now, he play like a super elite, Marco. I'm not
right
saying he
now,
is,
yeah,
but the number,
yeah,
the
yeah,
point he has right now, he's a super elite.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Right now,
uh,
yeah,
for me, that's really about this. And it's funny because when we are on the positive, or when everything is great in life, right? And your personal life and your family, your wife, around everything like that, everything great, right? You don't complaining too much about the wife, everything, right? And it's okay. It's same thing with Montreal Canadiens. We're not complaining right now. We don't see the negativity. We don't talk a lot about the win right now, right? Because we're focusing what's going on around. My point to you, I would say to you, nobody talk about his contract or Zuski right now. Seven point
no,
seven,
no,
8.5
it's not
for
negative. I think it's a great contract. Like,
8 million, right? That's a good thing
yeah,
about this, right? And then we talk about the fact how many people that it was disagree about he become the captain for the Montreal Canadiens. And
I think
for
there's,
me,
you have the odd the Kagan fans that were secretly rooting for Gallagher, but I think it was pretty well received overall.
yeah, but it was not unanimous or it was not anonymous. You get the Gallagher and Edmondson and many others. My point to you is like what I bring to you is this part. Like he managed everything together. Like he is really calm guy. Like he's not high, he's not low. He's always on the same. He knows. So for me, it's really I'm impressed by his behavior,
Yeah,
off
yeah,
eyes, on eyes, the way he talk on the press conference, everything like that. So I just want to open up that door, and I think you
yeah,
you really nail it. If we want to talk about that stood out this way for you, it was really
yeah.
the one. I
And
think it was the right one for Nick
and I
GT.
kind of see what you mean about Sakic. Like, not, I think Sakic was a very soft-spoken leader guy, so I see that comparison and how he carries himself for sure. If he can reach that kind of clutch performance status as a captain, as a center, then my God, we're gonna have a fun 10 years
But
or
if
eight
you look
years
at
here.
the playoff, Marco, him and Caulfield was pretty much good on the
Pretty clutch.
clash
Yeah,
during that time.
yeah,
And again, I'm not saying
yeah,
he's going to be like Joe Sakic. It's not my point. I just like
yeah,
to
yeah.
compare players similar.
The
So that's
type of
my
player. Yeah,
point to
yeah,
you. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
you understood.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for me, Marco, because I said Marco last week, he did not mention players. And I have to follow with him this week. And this week, I have to go with Martin Saint Louis. Um, I don't know if it's right said we cut because of him we are 8-6-1. We cannot relate this all the time because it's not going to be the we cannot have no fact, right? The number are there
yeah.
and he brings something, but we know this. Oh, because of him, that's what happening this way. But the way he managed everything, like he is really the captain of the ship. Everything is under him. But for me, the last 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, right? How you can judge people, Marco, is when the people talk about the person. Yes, some people are born to be a leader. Some have the kind of the charisma or the charisma. When they go to the podium, nobody talk. They just want to listen to him. That kind of the prestige. I'm not going to say the
Magnetism. Yeah,
prestige, but the
yeah.
kind of um, every time they open their mouth, they really don't talk. They just want to listen to him. That's what Martin Saint-Louis bring on the table for the Montreal Canadiens on the ice. Listen, he stayed after the practice, Marco. When everybody left, he stayed to
That was so
20,
fun.
30 minutes more with the reserve players, right? He talked with each one of them. He bring enthusiasm. His mindset remind me a lot when I studied for the 10 years with Todd Turkin. It was one of them, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Gordon. What's the NASCAR driver? Is it John Gordon or Jeff Gordon?
I think it's Jeff. I'm not a NASCAR guy, but yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right.
So yeah, my honor, it was Jeff Gordon. He was the same. He read a lot of book about team concept, teamwork, perceive, everything like that, right? And when Martin we talk, it just remind me all the players like I met many times Drew Brees because my mentor was Todd Durgan was the teacher of Drew Brees. So I have a lot of time. I was like the athletes every
Cool.
time like that. So my
Nice.
point to you is one Martin said we talk. He talk about everything about the culture of the publicity, enthusiasm, it's contagious. It's really helping there. The players are excited to go to at the work, but it's like every day they want to do a practice the way he talk with each one of them, the communication, the player have a great time to be with Martin Saint Louis. They never see a coach like Martin Saint Louis. That's what we heard. Like Joel Amir today and on the website. That's exactly what the impact. He said, I may be 0 point, but this is the best time of my life as a hockey player. Marco, he has 0 point. He could be upset. He could be hit everybody. He could point everybody and negative. He said, no. He bring the fun. He will re-energize me to enjoy the time I'm a hockey player.
Yeah.
How can you do that? I don't know, Marco. I'm speechless. How can a
Yeah.
player appreciate a coach like Martin Saint Louis with 0 point?
So I don't know if you remember us having this debate over the summer, coach, during the preseason, and we were when they had 0 wins, and we're like, you know what? Okay, we understand it's all about development this year. We get it. But I remember being concerned that Martin Saint Louis can try to create the best environment that he can, and focus on the development, but you need to win as well. You need some wins in there to build that positive environment, to reinforce all the positive things that they're doing, right? Because as a coach, on va dire français, faut que tu vends ton tabac, right? Like you have to be able to sell your plan, right? So when you don't get results, eventually, okay, it might sound good, but players, they want to see results, they want to perform, they don't want to look terrible in front of the media and the fans and everything, right? So I agree with everything that you just said, but I will say that like it makes it easier for that feeling to prevail in the type of environment that there is now, right? Like now I think it's kind of like chicken or the egg. Are they winning because he's created this environment, or is this environment existing because they're winning? I think it's a bit of both. Like they both kind of feed on each other. I don't think that they would have this success if Martin Saint Louis didn't put those conditions in place for them to feel that way. We heard just yesterday, like every press conference, there's always a 3-4 nuggets that you hear and that you would never hear from another coach, right? Like he's saying they don't even have the standings in the dressing room, right? So that tells you just an interesting insight
Marco, we
of the
talked together before the show start, right? Martin Louis
yeah,
does not know what rank they are in the NHL right now. He said, I don't
yeah.
know.
They
I
told
don't know
him
with 14, 17,
yeah,
26. I don't know. I'm not
yeah,
watching the standing at all. So
yeah, and they told
blew
him
my mind. Blew
you've
my
gotten
mind.
points in 7 out of the last 8 games, and he's like, really? And he didn't even know that. Yeah,
You're right. It's happened last night. He said that about
yeah,
that one over there.
yeah,
But my point to
yeah.
you, or I said to you again, maybe they was not winning in the exhibition game, but he knows they will become better and better and better. Whatever the losing game, they are not. I'm telling you right now, it will not change anything for Montreal Canadiens right now. Whatever they're losing 5 games straight. Why? Because they're not focusing on the result. They're focusing on the
No, no,
process.
no.
They're focusing every single day to become better. The player understand the all in for what they accomplish, and they know that George Armia said, I play right now my best hockey in my life right now. Whatever, I don't have no point because I'm learning things I never saw in my life. Josh Anderson said, I never have a coach like Martin Saint Louis. The word, the expression of the players to Martin Saint Louis is amazing for me, for how they express their gratitude or they are thankful about Martin Saint Louis. My point I want to open it out, this we did not talk to each other because we prepared the show, me and Marco guys, every before we come here, we talk about this. And this is a subject, Marco didn't mention this to you. Do you believe, we are all subject right now, do you believe the impact of Martin Saint Louis can bring player out of the market of Montreal Canadiens, want to play for Martin Saint Louis because the result he bring for the player, for each one of them as an individual players and as a group, as a team? Do you believe the Martin Saint Louis can become that kind of attraction around the NHL?
Oh yeah, like for sure, 100%. Like you remember the year after the bubble when Toffoli signed, he mentioned specifically, well, one of the reasons I signed is because I wanted to play with Suzuki, right? So it's not because of a coach, but you can see that players are smart enough to like listen to what's going around in the league. They watch the games. They hear all this stuff. So there's no question that the word of mouth, which is what this will be, the word of mouth will get around the league around what that's like to play in that dressing room. You don't even need the word of mouth. Like you just look at the performance of the players and how the players at like a Kirby Doc, right? So any player around the league will watch, oh, okay, they knew Kirby Doc from last year and they see Kirby Doc now. What's changed? Right? So I 100% agree. Um, I don't know if that's going to be next year because I don't know if we're in the space to be getting a lot of free agents next year. But when that time comes, when it's time to be adding pieces to really contend, no question, I agree with you. That's a really good point. That he's going to be a tremendous asset to bring players. Just
Well, other
playing for a Hall
subjects
of
to talk
Famer, right?
about, Marco, but definitely the time is flying right now, and I want to go back over there. Usually, at the
Yeah,
time of this of the show, it's time for the duel, and I'm going to
yeah,
bring you
yeah.
there. But unfortunately, Karine is not there.
Sweet.
But I'm going to go to you that direction. So I'm going to bring this picture for you guys.
All right.
a duel between MARKO Larabie. Tonight, Babcock and the red corner, Coach Frenchy going to step up versus MARKO Larabie and the blue corner. And maybe an up top is going to be the referee, who knows. But we're going to bring some fun subject today on the program of the duel. We have two rounds, round one and round two. 4 minutes each round. Who is going to win the duel between MARKO and Coach Frenchy? Let's move on, Mr. MARKO. Be ready for the duel. You and me. We call this the duel of the HABS branch. First of all, the first one, Mr. MARKO, is going to give you about 90 seconds, 2 minutes. And it's the round one, the extra D. What are you talking about? We know Mike Matheson now wearing the normal jersey at the practice. I think it was Friday, Saturday. And I think it was Friday. And now it's only the time about days, maybe week, only 1 week, but maybe a couple more days in front of us. That's the effect Mike Matheson will be available for the Montreal Canadiens. That it gave them an extra player in the roster. So they knew have to cut one player. Could be a forward, could be a D, could be whatever it is. But today the round one is about who is going to be out? Who do you expect what the Montreal Canadiens going to do? And I'm going to reply to your job.
All right. Well, so, just because it's a defenseman coming get back in, it doesn't necessarily need to be a defenseman that's going to come out. So, listen, like where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes. So there's been a lot of smoke around Dadonov. So I think to me, it's the most logical person to kind of waive, even though again, like I liked his game yesterday. I think he's sniffing around it. But listen, like you just have to make a decision. Out of anybody that you can send down to Laval, if you have to do that, unless they can facilitate a trade for him or something, out of all the players that, and between him and Weidman, they'd be the two that would have the least negative impact going to Laval, because we know Chris Weidman is a good locker room guy. He would take it for the team. He would, so he wouldn't be a distraction or a poison, for the players, for the players in Laval. Dadonov, I think it's not that he will be a great locker guy, but he'll just not talk to anybody, right? He seems very introverted. He'll go in his own corner and probably won't disrupt much going down there. From a hockey perspective, I think that's probably the best sense. And from a culture perspective, I think that's what makes the best sense. So I'm waiting for your jab back, Coach. What's your jab?
So your result, the result is that enough for you, right?
That enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great selection about this one. I was thinking Barcelona, they can play 13 forward now and you give you 8 defensemen. If you go that direction, you're going to penalize a rookie. And that's not what you try to accomplish as the defenseman.
Unless you may not have to penalize one of the rookie defensemen if you find a different position for them.
Yeah, but if you do that, you're going to penalize a forward.
Yeah.
All right.
Dwayne,
so my point will be, listen, I don't think so they were going to change in Cooley and Iris or Harbor at this moment. But they are the easy way to go to Laval. That's the right path over there. And sometimes Montreal Canadiens are always out of the box. Like they take a decision when we don't expect about this one over there.
Yeah, you're right.
The logic, MARKO is going to be Chris Weidman. Because when you think about this, it does not. When I said that, we're not talking, guys, about the trade right now. We're not talking about like a modification, like you make that. It's more like they will be try to get only who is out. Could be by trade, could be wherever, whatever it is. For me, it's really Chris Weidman right now, or they're going to go with a rookie go down. Could be between Harris and XHEKAJ. But
don't say Slavkovsky. Don't say Slavkovsky. Although it's funny though, because everybody thought, including you, that Slavkovsky was gonna get down to Laval, but it's interesting that he hasn't come up too much in this discussion.
Yeah, I think they want him right now. I think no one. If they go by rewards, right? And I think they have only 2 players can go out. Is that enough or Weidman for me? So I will keep with. I don't think City can leave with 8 defensemen. So for my players going to be out, it will be Chris Whiteman on the waiver. And honestly, which team going to get Chris Whiteman at the end of the day?
Yeah, like I think there's I don't know. Would you say that there's more likelihood that Weidman would get picked up than Dadonov? I think so. I
Yeah,
think
because
Weidman had more chance.
it's a recap,
Yeah,
right?
and he's a right shot D, right? That can
Yeah, but at the end
potentially
of the
play in your
day,
second unit.
Marco, if he's got trade or he get pick up Chris Whiteman, does not change nothing for the Montreal Canadiens. Like you don't lose a piece of the
No,
like Rempit Lake, you lose something because I think you can build with Rempit Lake in the future. Yeah, Whiteman, this is the end for him anyway. It's the same thing with that enough at the end of the day. So you don't lose nothing in revenge, and then open the door. Justin Barron, guys, scored 2 goals. This he have 2 3 points this weekend. Not say he's ready, but if you need a defenseman right there, right now, you can bring back Justin Barron for 1 game, 3 game, 4 game. And back and forth, you can drop someone with exam, everything like that. Kovacevic have a
yeah,
difficult game yesterday with Jordan Harris, but
but
again, out.
overall, yeah,
And when you talk about leadership, the only thing with Whiteman, it would be okay if he can be sit like Pesada and on the Calgary Price and French, right?
yeah,
And for the game, it's no matter. That is not like
yeah,
he's not going to be upset about this. He would act, of course, he would be disappointed, but he's not going to make a big red flag or turn around to create some cow inside the locker room. He will get it. It's
yeah.
fine. But
Well,
that will
it
be
is the
my only
duel.
thing.
It is
If
the
you go
duel.
with
So
7D like this, Marco, the only thing with Whiteman out, you have to have some time to cut 1 game, like maybe break Jacky or Aris or Gole or Kovacevic. You have to go maybe Edmondson at some point just to get him a break or something like that. That open that way at some that it could happen. Or bring down Aris or Jacky to play more minutes at Laval for a period of time, a short term. So that would be, I
yeah,
don't know my question. Round number one, I go with Whiteman, Marco.
yeah. Counterpoint to your point. So again, it really comes down to from a hockey perspective. I think Dadonov and Weidman they have pretty much the same impact in terms of what you're losing to your
Yeah.
lineup. So really comes down. So if that's equal, then the only thing that the other factor that you look at is the impact to your culture. Dadonov's impact to your culture, losing him, is zero. Weidman has those. Again, you can't keep somebody forever just because they're good in the room. I get that.
But now
But
I'm
if you're
going to give you
choosing
an
just,
uppercut, Marco, on the left side because you're right, but you're wrong at the same time. That enough bring you money and return, an asset and return compared to Whiteman.
like, why can't you trade him just because you're sending him to the HL now doesn't mean you still can't move him later. I don't understand.
No,
Like,
my
it's not
point
like,
is like, you don't get like, it's no matter that enough for Whiteman and then you're losing. As you said, you can maybe get something in return if that enough stay in the team. You get like, I don't know, like 10 gold be the next
yeah,
25 game,
I,
whatever it is. That's it. But my point, they
yeah,
get something in return. They could possibly get something in return. Or the fact Whiteman is just wash it, right? At the end of the day.
I think like we talked about, right? Everybody in the league knows who Daninoff is. It's
Yeah.
not like, okay, we need to watch him another 10 games to know. No, everybody knows what he is. Right now, we have the Ottawa Dadanoff, not the Florida or the end of the season Vegas Dadanoff. We have the Ottawa version of Dadanoff. So somebody will at some point make the decision. Okay, if we were to trade for him or pick him up, even and if Montreal holds some of the salary, which one are we getting? And is there a pattern? Like, why is Dadanoff why is he playing like that in Montreal and like that in Ottawa versus the Dadanoff that played in Florida? And at the end of the like,
The
what is the
wrong
difference? Do
share.
we have players? What's that? The
The
wrong
wrong
chair?
share.
Yeah. So he needs top 6 minutes and first unit power play to be successful.
Yeah.
So if you're a team that's going to pick him up, then you have to make sure that you're going to give him that, or else you're wasting your time.
Let's just give you an idea. The unit number 2 today was a little bit better because that enough doing a couple of move with the puck. Like maybe
Yeah.
not score, but he was rim the puck he was
Yeah.
send the puck at the right spot after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like I don't say it was
Then
amazing, but
Yeah.
that's what that enough do all the time.
I was surprised. Martin Saint-Louis had him on, and then I guess he tried to reward Anderson after he scored
Yeah.
the first goal, and
Yeah.
so I was like, man, just leave him on there for at least a whole game. Like, what a little tease, Martin Saint-Louis, putting him on the power play for one shift, and then
Are you ready for round number 2?
Oh yes.
Here we go. This is going to be hard on that one there. I don't know how you can sell it. I can wait for the people to respond to you a little bit later during the recording show. A little bit later when we'll be live. Round number two is all about HEKAJ. And we ask this question, play as a forward for HEKAJ.
Yeah. Okay. So let me frame this properly, right? So give some context so that people understand where I'm coming from. I'm not saying converting him to a forward forever, right? I'm talking that in the short term here with the situation that we have, especially with Matheson coming back, uh, I think Xhekaj has proven himself to be an indispensable part of the team in terms of what he brings, right? His physicality, his swag, the confidence that he brings to the team, and his production, right? So I think it's clear that we can't. They're not going to remove him from the lineup. Maybe removing him for a game here and there as part of a rotation, maybe, but I think fans will revolt. But that's a whole other thing. So a short-term solution until you make a decision on whether you're going to move Edmondson, what you're going to do at defense, is put him at forward. Go with you go with 7 defensemen and 12 forwards for the game. Sorry, 13 forwards. So that way you can still play him back there if you want. Like let's say you're killing a
I have to
penalty or
go
something like
11
that.
forward.
11 forwards. Sorry, yes. I'm terrible. You told me there would be no math involved, coach, or else I would have said no. I'm not good at math. So the idea would be, and I guess just personally, I have this curiosity as to what would this man do on the forecheck. Can you just imagine him being on the forecheck? Like he's an amazing skater. He's actually has some really nice aptitudes. Like he has good hands, a really nice shot. So I would just be really curious to see what he could do if we tested him out as a Dustin Byfuglien kind of guy or a Brett Burns kind of guy. He doesn't have the high end of offensive talent as those players, but I think there's something there. And who knows? Like, let's say it works well, great. Then you know that you have this option moving forward. Maybe you can put Xhekaj on the power play as a net front presence eventually. Maybe that's a look that you have. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I get it, but it's an interesting solution, and we know that the Habs with this management group like to think outside the box. I think it's an interesting thing to try just in the short term as we figure out what's going to happen with all these extra bodies on the back end.
The only thing I agree is 11-7. Yeah, nothing wrong to dress 7 defensemen and 11 forward. Where I completely disagree, you're not going to put Xhekaj as a forward. I don't. For me, it does not work at all. It's not a way to develop. I understand it's short term, everything like that, but it's not going to help allow anybody, and
Why
then
though?
for the message you leave in the building, like you play Xhekaj forward, and then you have 2 players sit on the top, like Pesera and another player, whatever he is, and him an example or whatever it is. So for me, I don't see like the locker room over there. Now, is it better to put Xhekaj play 12 minutes on the bench, or is it better for him to watch the game for the top and see another dimension of the game? I'm not sure about this one over there, but for me, I know because that question is about do you play as a forward? So honestly, I've just said to you, no, I don't see this allow progression,
But
development, whatever you call it.
but
I
tell me
don't
why.
see
Like,
this right
so
there. No, I
how
can
do you think it will
understand.
hinder his
Yeah,
development?
sometime in the NHL you put John Ferguson playing power play in front of the net, Chris Nyland playing for power play in front of the net. It's happened sometime, right?
Chara used
And
to
I
play in
said
front of the net.
it's not. Yeah, it's not said like round right there. But I just said I don't see that possibility where Xhekaj can play as a forward. My only thing I would say behind that, right, when you take it a bit more deeper, Montreal Canadiens is going to have a number of left defensemen at some point. If they don't move anybody from LD to right D, example like
Yeah,
Aris or Xhekaj or
yeah,
something like that. If because
yeah,
DJ Brody does a great job, and some players play well on the wrong side. If you shoot left, you play on the right. Some play well.
yeah,
Brody
yeah.
did this for many years with Giordano, and they have some kind of chemistry. And the only thing is your back end, but you can rip to under the side. You find a way to can this. If it's not the case, But we already have a number of defensemen, too many on the left defenseman. That's not include Lane Hudson's coming very soon, the next couple of years, and I
Yeah,
can go the list like that. So, but
you're proving my point, then, Coach. You're proving my point.
but my point behind that, I don't see XHEKAJ to become a forward for the Montreal Canadiens. I think there will be at some point possibility to Montreal trade one of the two or one of the three, not XHEKAJ, not Goulet, maybe Jordan Harris, where he's going to have a good, like Romanov have a good asset, right? And they trade Romanov because they know they maybe not expect what they got from the three players right now, but I think they feel
Yeah,
that we need to find a spot for goalie. My point to you, at some point, we need to find a spot for Lane Hudson. That's simple, right? And want to do that, Ambassador will be now to talk about the goaltender. Me and you, we starting to looking about goaltender around the league, what kind of contender they can get. By the way, Jared Walsell scored a goal yesterday as a goaltender.
amazing. Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
want to, that's open in like just my mind think all
yeah,
the time. But
yeah.
that's I understand your point of view, but I don't think so that happen at this moment. And when Montreal
I'm very
Canadiens,
disappointed, Coach. Like, I think just try to imagine in your mind Jacky on the forecheck. How incredibly
yeah,
entertaining that would be.
but look already, Jacky and the corner already. Yeah, again, Pittsburgh tonight. The body fly left and right. Like he hit Guanzel in the corner, he hit Hannon in the corner. Like the people now go in the corner, they have to be their head up. Like it remind me of
Yeah,
Weber. Like
yeah. No, I
you have
agree.
to be in the
I
corner, you have
agree.
to be careful because you're going to get hit. Like so, and on the right sides. So
I
for
think he
me,
would
I
create
can
even more
understand
havoc
point
in
of
the
view, but I
offensive
think for
zone.
the long term, I don't see that kind of. The only problem
Not
that's
long
happening right
term.
now is the people like Frey Brother, Norlander, and I
Nah.
can go. They are stuck. They cannot go nowhere anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they need to move some of those assets for sure. Like,
But this is a
I
good
think,
point, Mark. This is a good problem when you move asset like that because that's where you get players. Like, look the trait of the Kirby Doc, right? Romanov opened the door to get him. Everybody was like nobody talk about Romanov anymore. Like,
yeah,
remember, like Shea Weber and Piquet Subban for a year. We talk about Piquet Subban. You know, we still talking about Jonathan Drouin, Sarkisian, but nobody talk right now about Romanov. We see what the future would
yeah,
bring. You
yeah,
know, but look, the trade next key for maturity. So at some
yeah.
point, we
Well,
have
it's a
to talk
good
about
point.
Marc
Like,
Bergevin in the next couple of weeks.
I was just gonna say,
That'll
yeah,
be a good thing
that's a
about this.
very
By
good
the
point.
way, before we move on, we're almost done. Marco, we want to mention everybody in 2 weeks. Every 20 game or every quarter of the season, we do a report card for each players, and all the people in the Abs Browns going to give us a report card for each player with their letters A, B, C, B minus, whatever they are. So expect this in 2 weeks. This way we play games 16, 17, 18, Marco. So it'll be interesting after that. So in 2 weeks, two Sunday, we're going to play 19 and
Will I
20,
get
21st.
a report card for my own performance?
Not yet. This is going to be
Okay.
because by the people in the chat. So we're going to ask
Oh,
them to
okay,
bring
okay,
their card,
okay,
like like diving, down, jumping 10, 9, 8, 9.5.
okay.
We'll see.
All right.
You
So I
need
have
to
to start
practice more your
sucking up to
diving
people to get a
a
good
bit.
report card.
So
Okay.
3 game Montreal Canadiens. It's a week where Montreal can become another week. Not too bad if you think about this. New Jersey Tuesday, we know New Jersey is maybe the
Ooh.
biggest surprise in the NHL with Boston Bruins. Then Thursday, the Columbus Blue Jackets finally got a point yesterday against the New York Islanders. And then Saturday, the Flyers become more the Flyers we know. But still, it's a team right now with four checking and Montreal did not do very well since the beginning of the season with a team like that kind of the dimension.
Mm,
Carter Hart and
yeah.
looking great over there. So,
Oh
what
man.
do you
Yeah.
think about the weeks this week?
Yeah. So I'm a little nervous about that. I'm actually a little bit nervous about that Philly game as well. I think right now, like New Jersey, I do you know if they play before this game? Are we going to be getting Blackwood? Or he's injured,
Now
right?
Blackwood is hurt. You're going
Is
to get
hurt.
Vanecek.
So yeah, Vanacek. And maybe, I don't think they have Dawes, I think, that come up. So maybe we hit and we'll see if Montreal, this would be interesting to see if teams in the league respect Montreal yet. Will they play Dawes,
No,
viewing
because they
Montreal as
play
a
Schmidt today. That is not them. Schmidt is the goaltender right now for them.
New Jersey?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, like looking at this slate here, I think Columbus, they've lost Werenski. That's a huge tile to fall on their head. Like they've already have a couple of defensemen missing over there, so that's going to be tough. But they play a fast paced, in your face style. So I'll say we'll go. You know what? We're on a roll right now. I'm going to say we win in New Jersey miraculously, and we win in Columbus, and we lose in Philly because I think Carter Hart has always played super well against Montreal. Man, Carter Hart is impressive. Like when you
Marco,
watch
I
him,
have
it's
to interrupt you. Is that okay?
yeah, yeah.
But you are right. I'm right.
Oh, okay.
Vanecek is out.
Yeah, yeah,
Blackwood is
yeah,
out. And Bernier
yeah.
is
So it's
out.
Dawes.
So now you
Yeah,
have
so
Nico Da and you have Schmidt. Schmidt was the goaltender yesterday. So now you're going
yeah,
to get Nico Da
Dawes.
Tuesday night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry
So
about that.
yeah, so no, it's okay. So yeah, New Jersey, we might like again, they're playing really solid hockey, but we talked about, goaltending is critical, right? Just to wrap up on Philadelphia. I don't know, coach, like when you're watching Carter Hart, like it's just unreal how he looks like Carey Price in net. It's just surreal how similar they play, how they look in net. If it was like if you change the jerseys, I think it would be really hard to tell the difference. It's really spooky actually how close they look alike and how they play alike. It's fun to watch so far. So yeah, that's my take. I think we go 2-1 this week.
I agree with you. I will go two and
Yeah,
one with you. I was looking, so New Jersey does not play today and Monday. So I just want to watch things with you.
yeah,
So I go
yeah.
with you 2-1. I cannot, but which game you're going to win? But 2-1. Be amazing. They go 2-0-1. But get
Yeah.
a point against the New Jersey, Marco will be really interesting. Talking about New Jersey, Marco, uh, Tuesday is September 15. There's a retro jersey for the Montreal Canadiens, and for the first time, they're going to wear that jersey Tuesday night. So
So
it'll be
nice.
interesting to watching this. I think it's a good move from NHL marketing, I believe. So I just
Yeah.
want to share
Did you
it
see
with
their
you.
mascot though? Did you see the new mascot that
Yeah,
Montreal
yeah, I saw that
metal?
pop up really quickly about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure that's landing very well with the fan base. I think the jersey is really nice, but would you be happy to wear that metal? I know you have experience
No,
as a mascot. You
no,
wouldn't be doing metal? No?
no.
Wouldn't accept the gig, eh? Okay.
I really love my UP. Soft. It was soft. Soft inside of that one over there.
Yeah.
So it'll
Yeah.
be a ton of that. We know we have to talk about the Rocket. We're going to go next week. We know Simono have a good weekend and Byron have a good weekend for the Rocket. They lost one game and then they win
Hmm.
one game, I can recall it. And then the Prospect have really good week. I will just open up this if you don't mind, Marco. We
Sure.
maybe
Yeah.
extra, maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes. But
Yeah, yeah.
Guindon and Aurora, 6 points last week. Hudson have another game of 2 assists Friday night. And Mayu have
Yeah.
1 goal, 2 assists during the week. And then Sean Farrell finally got his 3 point game yesterday. 1 goal, 2 assists. We have other players, but not like one player is doing well. I'm following right now the U18, U17 get out right now this week in Detroit is U18. And then you have the 5 team nation play right now. There are 3 nation play in Czechoslovakia for the World Junior Championship. So Kapanen scored 1 goal for each game he played for Finland. They beat the Sweden yesterday. And I'm watching Ekstrom over there and Kapanen have a good week with that team G20.
Hmm.
So they play always in November. Obviously, they don't have Richard this year at that tournament. So they play only 3 games, the Finland and Czechia and Sweden. They are all there. So I'm just watching them. U17 was in British Columbia. And the 2024 NHL draft is going to be really solid. 2025 will be better at 2024. And 2023 is really excellent. So I'm following all those kind of players. I want to learn more about this. And then,
Hmm.
honestly, Montreal Canadiens have a good week as a prospect. So let's move back here what we do at the show. We know we talk about the preview game. Now, what you really maybe a specific thing you're looking for, Marco, for the week, and then we're going to get out.
I think I'll be looking for
Well, Marco, I will
consistency.
change this. Is that okay if I ask you
Okay.
another question?
Sure. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
fun question, and then we're going to finish this because I'm going to give you on the time right now, 2 minutes. Is that right?
Okay. Okay.
I ask you, what if? Finish the sentence.
What if right now, currently, as we stand right now, the Montreal Canadiens are tied for a playoff spot? Who would have said that this summer? No one. But they are. So again, really early. We're not saying it's going to happen. But what if the Montreal Canadiens are still in the playoff spot at American Thanksgiving? What does the plan change? Like, does that, do we not start to talk to teams about unloading Monahan? Are we hanging on to Monahan? Mike Hoffman continues to score. What if, like, would you add like all of a sudden you're looking at your rookie defense and you're like, okay, like, it's fun and everything, but we're about to make the playoffs. We think we could make the playoffs, or should we move one of them again, or do you stick with the plan? Very interesting question. Very interesting question. I wouldn't do it. I think you stick with the plan, but tough question.
I will
Coach?
give you an answer only at the Thanksgiving, Mr. Marco.
Oh,
I will
sneaky.
wait until then to see what happened about this. Marco, first of all, you did an amazing, great job today, but we cannot have a better show without Karine. Unfortunately, we messed her terribly today, but you did pretty good. I will give you a B today for your performance. Right. So you want to get a note. I give you a note right now, Mr. Marco.
I'll take the report card.
You're going to take it. I'm sure you're going to take it, honestly. Great show, Marco. I think we did very well. We're going to be premiere at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. I can't wait to talk with everybody. But until then, my friend, we wish an amazing, great week for everybody. And I'm going to see you next week for episode number 11 already, Mr. Marco.
Crazy.
Then we wish you an amazing, great week, Sir Marco.
Thanks, Coach.
You got
Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for joining us for another special edition, of course, the HABS Brunch, your Sunday rendezvous.